So it's looking more and more like DeAndre Ayton won't be doing the Suns any favor in terms of a sign and trade. Either he gets his own sign and trade deal somewhere else, which is looking like it might be Indiana, or he signs an offer sheet and can't be traded as a result of that, which leaves the Suns in a bit of a pickle. They've been trying to acquire Kevin Durant at a modest price, and a lot of their packages hinged on Ayton, even though the Nets weren't exactly thrilled with the young big man. Which brings me to the idea that Phoenix might trade Chris Paul as part of the package for Kevin Durant. The idea comes about from several factors. Number one, you get to save Mikal Bridges. Number two, the timeline for your team looks a lot better with Bridges instead of Paul. Instead of surrounding Booker with a 34-year-old Durant and a 38-year-old Paul, you have your 2-3-4 combination at three very different points in their careers. The Nets have basically discovered that the trade market for Kevin Durant isn't as lucrative as they thought. So, in all likelihood, given the deficit of picks they're in, they're going to have to start looking up ways to get value for KD in the aggregate. Right now, nobody's meeting the Nets' high demands for Durant. If Phoenix uses Paul as salary ballast, it's entirely possible and even very likely that they come up with the best offer. It would be Paul, the expiring Jay Crowder, Cam Johnson the last year of his rookie deal, an unprotected pick in 2024, an unprotected swap in 2025, an unprotected pick in 2026, and another unprotected pick in 2027. These swaps would have the added benefit of keeping the Nets from having the bottom falling out in those years. If Houston does not land in the top 10 in 2025, the Nets will be stuck with the worst of their own pick, Houston's pick, and Oklahoma City's pick. At the same time, the Nets also another first in 2026 and another unprotected swap in 2027. In terms of salary, Paul makes $28.4 million, Jay Crowder makes $10.183 million, and Cameron Johnson makes $5.887 million, whereas Durant makes $42.969 million. So they save $1.5 million. But again, more importantly would be those picks. And the reason getting those picks back in those years would be so beneficial is that it allows the Nets increased negotiation in the Kyrie Irving trade. So far, the Lakers are the only suitor for Kyrie Irving. And negotiations are at an impasse because the Lakers and the Nets can't agree on draft capital. For some reason, everybody assumes that the Lakers are only capable in dealing unprotected picks, straight up, which would mean that they'd be dealing 2027 and 2029. And it's not too surprising that the perception of the Lakers is that they only deal with unprotected picks. Look at the Anthony Davis trade. Not a single protection was favored in the Lakers as any sort of insurance. It was number 4 overall. Then it was in 2021 protected 8 through 30 for the Lakers, and then it rolled over into unprotected 2022. What that meant is if the Lakers pick fell in the top 7 in 2021, the Pelicans got it. It didn't. So it rolled over to this year in 2022. Then you have the unprotected swap upcoming this year. Then you owe one more unprotected pick in 2024, which the Pelicans can delay until 2025. And this is where the Nets getting the Suns pick in 2026 is hugely beneficial. Because now Brooklyn not only has the second Harden pick that year, top 8 protected, but with a Phoenix unprotected pick, you can look the Lakers in the eye and say, all right, well, we'll take an unprotected double swap on both picks in 2027. If the Sixers pick lands in the top 8, then it's just a single unprotected swap with the Suns pick. But if the Sixers pick lands outside the top 8, then it becomes a double swap. By the way, that Sixers pick is top 8 protected for 27 and 28, and then it becomes a 28 second round pick. So that is why I suggested the Nets get that particular collection of draft picks, because it allows you to get more creative with the draft compensation asked of the Lakers. And you might be saying, well, wait a minute. If Paul is in Brooklyn, why wouldn't the Lakers just trade for Paul? Well, because it makes no sense for the Nets to make Paul available to the Lakers. It makes sense for the Nets to make Paul available to any other team in the league that Paul is willing to go to, but not the Lakers. And here's why. If the Nets trade Paul to the Lakers, they may undoubtedly get more out of Los Angeles than they would for Kyrie. But that would also mean that they would have nowhere else to trade Irving. I mean, it's just, you get more assets if you trade Paul somewhere else on top of trading Irving to the Lakers. I mean, Crowder could also probably fetch you a pick or two since he is a mid-level expiring. I mean, we saw last year with what the Blazers were looking for CJ McCollum. A lot of expiring deals and a lot of cap flexibility. Crowder's 1 year left would allow the Nets to make plenty of deals on the market if it so came down to that. Again, I think it's very unlikely that the Nets and the Suns would even consider putting Paul in the trade at this time. But as the offseason goes on and these two trade requests become more and more of a distraction for Brooklyn, the Nets may find that they have no choice.